What's up? Good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening in, wherever you're listening from. Shout out to my Spotify listenership, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're watching in, thanks for giving me a reason to get dressed. Coming live from my voice to your phone, headphones, TV, or car stereo. Your attention could have been anywhere in the world, but it's here right now. Take a moment to be present and recognize that it is now, right now. Whether your right now is working, running, exercising, cleaning, laying down, flying, driving, be grateful we're alive, baby. Failure can be frightening. However, as Winston Churchill reminds us, success is all about going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. This is I Will Not Lose podcast, where we set out to prove everything is learned from failure, and we must persevere and recognize it as one step closer to success. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Let's jump right in. It's been a while, fam. Man, feels good to be back. Took a little break over the 4th of July and then decided to try out a bi-weekly format. Partially because I was getting a little burnt out, partially because I think I can just create more quality by spreading some things out rather than the rush to produce, create, film, script, record, edit, promote an episode every single week. So I appreciate you if you've been tuning in. Thank you for everybody who reached out in the last week that I didn't drop and made sure everything was all right. But go ahead. I got a back catalog, so you can go ahead and check that out in the meantime. I've been playing the game with clips and seeing how clips and putting those things out in the short form content works. And I'll be honest, it's a fun game. People definitely do hear about the podcast through the clips, even if they don't tune into the full show. So a lot of people that see me out know me as a podcaster, which is definitely pretty cool. But it got me thinking about my responsibility as a podcaster, and it's not to chase viral moments, but to allow for my listeners to truly connect with my story. And in the spirit of perseverance and learning from failures and mistakes, everybody wishes they could go and write a letter to their younger self. I'm reading Self-Love is the Best Love by my Keisha Guider, friend of mine. And she has an awesome part in there where she writes a letter to her younger self. And it got me thinking, what did I get into podcasting for? Am I in the same place I was a year ago when I decided to start on this journey? So in connecting with the personal part of the I Will Not Lose, let's be honest, there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of podcasts about people talking about success. And we derived a little bit by focusing on failure and the importance of failure and averting setbacks. But there's plenty of content that you can get out there like mine. So I truly appreciate you listening in. And I think that connecting with my story, sharing the personal anecdotes, or help what gives the spice to this podcast and kind of make it stand out from something else. So let's get right into it. Here is the letter that I wrote to myself. Dear Tony, 1 year ago, you stood on the precipice of a new adventure, wavering between the weight of doubt and the allure of potential. You question, do I really have something to say? The answer in the past year has proven a resounding yes. Starting your podcast wasn't just about speaking into a void. It was about building bridges, fostering connections, and creating a space for transformative conversations. Looking back, you achieved exactly what you set out to do. You connected. Those connections not only enriched your personal growth, but also paved the way for meaningful opportunities. Remember how you hoped to amplify your voice and expand your personal brand? Your podcast was instrumental in achieving that. Through its waves, you found an audience that resonated with your message, and amongst those listeners were individuals who believed in your capabilities so much that they brought you on board their projects. Such a power is reaching out and sharing your authentic self. In life, there's a constant dance between certainty and uncertainty. It's tempting to cling to familiar paths for the fear of the unknown. But as you've demonstrated, there's magic in embracing both. You believed in the potency of one right decision, and what a decision it was. Your podcast is a testament to Dr. Julie Gerner's words, just one right move, one leap of faith, has the potential to redirect the course of your life. Your journey over the past year has been dotted with forks in the road. Instead of hesitating, you chose to proactively create them, diving into uncharted territories and chasing after the unknown. In the process, you became a beacon for others, illuminating the power of choice, risks, and imagination. And as you took your first steps into the world of podcasting, another change was on the horizon. Artificial intelligence saw breakthroughs, allowing creators like you to scale in ways previously unimaginable. The new wave of innovation has opened doors, expanded horizons, and blurred the boundaries between the possible and the impossible. Before I conclude, there's something you should know. This letter, encapsulating your journey, triumphs, and challenges, was written by AI. It's a testament to the world that awaits, where human creativity meets technology, forging a promising tomorrow. Here's to the past, the present, and the myriad possibilities of the future. Warmly, ChatGPT. It's crazy, man. We live in a world that we couldn't imagine a year ago. And I know everybody's scared of AI and everybody's worried about it may take their jobs, but I just see endless potential for one-man shows like I Will Not Lose to scale and reach unimaginable lengths. I mean, I can't even imagine the reach that we've been able to grow over the past year. And I say we, even though it's a single man show and it's me, I say we because the little letters of encouragement, the messages I get in my inbox, the calls, text messages, they keep me going. So this is really a for everyone type thing. You know, I'm really putting myself out there to create value for you in listening to this. So when I think about a world that we cannot imagine, it reminds me of the quote from Khalil Gibran of The Prophet. And I'm going to read into what he says on children. But this has been a very pivotal part in the creation of Tony Ortiz and just the Ortiz family. My mother read The Prophet and really believed in this poem that I'm about to read. And it helped change the way that I parent and the way that I look at the world my kids can barely imagine. I mean, precipice, my mom couldn't have known anything like AI would have happened. And so can't really look to her to figure out how to scale as a content creator in this new world, you know, but the famous poem, this is from the book, The Prophet, and this is On Children by Khalil Gibran. And a woman who held the babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And they are with you, yet belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backwards, not tarries with yesterday. Your bows are from which your children, you are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable." So a lot there, man, a lot to unpack. I mean, just the fact that you are a bow, you are a sturdy bow that shoots the arrow. You know, you can't control where that arrow's going after you let it go. And you're firing it off into a distance, into fog that you can't imagine. So rather than try to create a playbook for the world that is for your children, I truly believe you're doing them a disservice. You know, we haven't grown up with social media. You know, Facebook came to us when we were in like college, and MySpace before that, but there was nothing like TikTok or on a viral level. These kids are living in a completely different world, and AI is going to paint new jobs and new worlds for them that we can't imagine. So things I try to teach my son are shaking hands, looking in the eyes, being a gentleman, being a chivalrous. I had him on my podcast in season 1 talking about misogyny and just letting him make his own decisions. You know, he lives in a world of Andrew Tate. And so who am I to say, okay, well, I know anything about that. He knew about him before me. So he's watching videos of Andrew Tate. I need to let him know what to do with that sort of information and how to pick apart what's a good message and what's just complete misogynist trash, you know? But this is what I try to do, trying to build confidence and paint the picture with my daughter that she can be on YouTube. Same thing with my son. You know, I've always painted the picture that they have tools to be creators and express themselves in ways that we couldn't create and express ourselves. You know, you couldn't be on TV. I couldn't have a podcast 25, 30 years ago. It's amazing the levels of just the way the game leveled up, you know, the different levels to this stuff that they're going to experience that are completely different than what we had. But he says, you know, you may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow. Man, that's so huge. It's almost saddening when you say you cannot visit that place even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. That rings so true, man. My son has the greatest sense of style, and we were just out thrifting a little earlier today. We're picking out clothes, and he has such a great sense of taste. And I talk to him. I listen to different ways that he matches things, different things at his style. So it's like, okay, I can emulate that, but I'm not going to try to tell him, no, man, I have style. You need to dress like me. You need to do it this way. You know, there's a reason why he has that form of expression. And I push for my kids to have any form of expression, you know, really express themselves. So let me see where I'm at. Perfect. Nice, cool little 12 minutes. I'm going to go into a bit of announcements because there's a lot going on. But been listening to a lot of local music lately. Devin Haley just dropped his project with produced by Phase One, the Top 5 Volume 3. I'm not going to lie. I probably played it front to back 8-9 times so far, and it dropped 2 days ago. So that's definitely on repeat. Great job. Great job, you two, man. It's a great project. Other than that, still listening to A-Town Slim, another one produced by FaZe. He said he's putting out 5 projects, God willing, this year. So keep it up, man. Let's see what goes on with that. Other shouts out to local music. Raw Feet, it's Christian rap. I met him at the photo party that Carter McKinney put together, and been listening to his music. Shout out to Quesa, the artist. He's got another project he's talking about, and I'm still eating up the old project. So I had the pleasure to sit down with him about a week ago, and hopefully there's some things we can build on when he gets back from shooting his documentary. Big shout out to Quesa. It's funny. I was listening to his podcast, Grown Man Talk. That's Quasa's podcast. And as we were sitting down for coffee the other week, we're talking about It's Just a Phase and Phase One in his podcast, and just had nothing but good things to say about the man. And I sit here and I'm listening to, you know, podcasts that I listen to, Flagrant 2, Brilliant Idiots, a lot of stuff coming out of WTF Media Studios in New York. Big shout out to Alex Media. And they talk on the podcast that I listen to about different things that they go out and people that they know in the network. And it's like, man, you know, this is like this sub-celebrity culture. And then I look around and it's like, I'm on FaZe's podcast. I'm sitting down with other podcast creators. I know about music that's coming out. We had FaZe on the, you know, that was one of the people that we were talking about connecting with, you know, that opened up a whole bunch of stuff and content creation and things that we're in the message box talking about. So super cool. But when it hit me was big shout out to director Hitman. Angel has a live and I jump into it and he sees me in the live and he says, oh, big shout out to Tony Ortiz. Make sure you check out his podcast. And it's like, as I hop in these lives or I go in the comment, people know me as a podcaster. So maybe this whole little Allentown, Lehigh Valley content network of creators, Empower 610, shout out to all the creators in the Lehigh Valley area, you know, but maybe we are the sub-celebrities of the sub-celebrities. Who else do I got down on here? Shout out to Angel B Live. He does gaming streaming. I know last I saw he was streaming Street Fighter 6, but to put out a great show, whether you're streaming, putting out a podcast, putting out music, etc., it takes a ton of work. So I love feeling in the middle of it. I love seeing all the creation that's going on. July 28th is going to be a huge day. Shout out to Conscious Beautiful Salon and Spa. They're having their grand reopening. It's on 1101 Hamilton Street. There is the, I'm going to have to pull it up. Mike Frassetto has that event at Steel Stacks the same day, 8 to 11. Man, I'm going to have to pull it up. It's going to hit me, but I'll correct that or throw it up in the description. And then gonna top that night off seeing Andrew Scholes, the comedian I was talking about from Brilliant Idiots and Flagrant 2 podcast. So gonna support what he's doing, see him live. I've had the pleasure of seeing him in Philly at a show well before his Netflix special, when you could get tickets for like a third of the prices you can get them now. So big shout out to that man's success. Love to see everything growing and going from there. Other than that, we'll see if the bi-weekly thing keeps going. I may just get bored and drop something, and we'll just call it bonus content if I drop in between weeks. This is I Will Not Lose podcast, where we set out to prove everything is learned from failure. We must persevere and recognize it as one step closer to success. To support the show, visit the website iwillnotlosepodcast.com and subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Share the episode link, leave a comment. And if you're listening in and can't see the QR code on the screen, go to tothedesigner.com/links. I've got a donate button up there, and you can check out the latest episode and such. Your contribution is appreciated. Thank you for listening.